podcast at Solano College TV studio, and with me, I am your moderator, Gavin Halverson. Over here we have Blake White, Emerson, Gregorio,
Yep.
and Arjeevan Samra. And today we're going to be talking about the 49ers and Bay Area sports as a whole, improvements and things that they could do to improve. So, with that, let's talk about the 49ers.
Well, I want to start off with the Niners, and I think a big thing we can say about them is that they're just overall a strong team. They've been a strong team for years now, and they've still been a focus, especially in the past 10 years. With that, though, with how good that they are, they always have little nitpicks that hold them back from greatness, and that's something that we can really focus on. With how much fire and drive that they have, we just need to focus on the intricate things that are holding them back from the real championship and greatness runs.
No, yeah, like if you look at the Niners in general, they've just been a powerhouse for decades now. They've been like amazing during the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice era. They have, star players and like even like Hall of Famers on the current roster. You got Fred Warner, you got Christian McCaffrey, who's going to be, one of the best running backs of all time. You have players who have that talent and like have that notability that could carry like an offense or a defense, but there's just small things, like you said, that they're just not executing right. There's injuries that are happening, and there's just mistakes being made that are losing them games when it matters the most.
I think with those injuries, like you said, the smaller things, like having the stars is great. They'll get plays done, but they need the smaller guys that keep getting injured. Those are the smaller contracts that just get it done. You need a supporting cast. It's a team sport at the end of the day. It's not just one big guy like Bosa or Warner shutting down the entire team. It's a team sport at the end of the day, and those small guys just keep going down. They need to fix injuries. They tried to bring back. They brought Rick Greenlaw and Mike Evans to fill in some gaps with the 49ers. Both sides, they need it badly. Shanahan needs to open up the playbook. He needed someone that can go deep. I think Mike Evans is great for that. They got him on cheap deals. ESPN stated him to be like $7.5 million for Greenlaw and about $4.25 million for Mike Evans, which is great.
Yeah.
They're just keeping a good squad together,
Yeah, and to keep that good squad together, you can't just have all these all-star players. Having the with Eric from San Francisco Times is saying that basically they just pick up these one and done, like all-time hitters, and these hitters are just trying to carry out the team, and the smaller guys, the guys that aren't as recognizable and stuff like that, they're getting the boot, which is unfortunate because you can't just have all these all-stars.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think a big thing too that I noticed with the team is that they have great drive. The dynamic is there with the team, and they all have the focus to win big. One thing that I do notice though is what we're saying with the injuries. A lot of them don't even get injured in the game or in the preseason. They're getting injured in practice, and that's something where what you're saying could also be happening within the games themselves, that are these tiny plays that are causing us to lose. We're getting too tunnel vision, and we're getting too hard of a burn that we're burning out instead of getting us to the finish line.
Yeah. And then,
go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I feel like with it's a lot of the small players that do turn big. I think like biggest examples like Jawan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. They've taken on big roles in the receiver position, and with Ayuk especially, they get egos. Like people who see that they just started off small and become star players for them, they just kind of fall apart. And I don't really blame the organization for this, but I think they just handled it very poorly. Ayuk just fell apart. He gained an ego. He became like just crazy. It's like the Antonio Brown situation. Not as good, of course, but it's the Antonio Brown situation all over again, where it's just like they were stubborn about how much they wanted to value him, and he was stubborn about it, and it just clashed. And now he's off of the team with like they wasted like a year of $20 million on him.
Yeah.
They just lost the value out of that because they were so stubborn with it, and it's just a bad look because they're just losing star players to just random crap.
No. What do you think we could do to I'm thinking of like some improvements that they could do to just work that out and stuff, and like I was just thinking of like just the coaching. They just need to improve on some of their coaching, and just not going so hard on the players really. It's just even the littler guys and stuff like that. You can't just be getting injured during practice. And practice is where you're supposed to work your hardest and stuff like that, but you just can't be just can't be dropping guys during practice and stuff.
I totally agree, and I think like what Arjun was saying about like their roster moves recently have been good. They're making cheap moves that are going to impact the game pretty well. I mean, you look at a guy like Brock Purdy. It's like he's getting paid like what $40-50 million a year. I mean, sure, he's a great quarterback, but is he worth that money? I personally don't think so. I think that overall they have players who have had good seasons, and then they overvalue themselves, and then they don't value them enough, or they overvalue them, which leads to wasting money on that big contract. They could have gone out and signed more players with that because they clearly need it with how much they're getting injured. Because they had Mac Jones running the lineup for a while. They had like the fourth string of the defensive line and the like offensive line. They need those players because they are running out of that, and they don't need to put that towards like Brock Purdy or just big players like that who are still getting injured anyways and aren't playing for them.
I think that comes down to the front office. I think John Lynch and the front office overall, the way they get the salaries done is just not good enough. They undersell the players. They say, I'll give you this amount, and it's just very, very low. Like, they're undercutting them by a lot, and that just builds a bad relationship. Like, the player just wants, I want what I'm worth, basically. And so that's what happened with Bosa. He was out until basically week 1 of the actual NFL season. He took a long, long time. Brandon Ayuk, same thing. They waited till training camp to bring him back. All these players come in like disgruntled almost. You want to build that winning culture, you got to get the veterans. Luckily, they got Mike Evans, but Debo, same thing. He was gone for a while. Got the 3 years, $75 million. Had to trade him off because he just wasn't a piece anymore.
Yeah.
That is a good thing to bring up because with what you were saying, they come and they get undervalued for their contracts, which also can cause them to start building an ego because they think they're more valuable. They think they're more worth than that. And that ego itself can cause just messed up plays. It can cause poor dynamics, not just with the front office and the coaches, but with players too.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and with that, we're going to be transitioning since we're done now with the NFL and the Niners and stuff, talking about what they could do to improve and legacy and all that. We're going to be working on and going down to the Golden State Warriors. So with that, let's start talking about the Warriors. What do we thought? What are our thoughts?
I got a lot to say about it. I think I'll let y'all go first.
All right.
You guys talk.
All right. So I'll say the Warriors are missing that spark that they had 2012. That Monty Ellis trade where they kept Curry. That was a controversial thing. They need that. They built from the ground up just a winning culture. Steve Kerr at the time. Just in general, the team looked new. They looked fresh. There was something new. That's later what brought KD around. I mean, they were winning games. I think right now they're just too stuck in the past with Steve Kerr. I think as a Lakers fan, I think he's the problem. I think I blame a lot on him, but just it's all Curry in his mind. Curry and Draymond is everything, and they need to get fresh. They need to get younger.
Yeah, and that freshness is just what keeps teams alive. You got to keep that freshness and stuff, and you can't just hold on to Steve Kerr and Draymond and all that, and then with them just trading out such heavy hitter players, it just feels like it's all up to, except for Curry now, to just get the job done. Everyone's passing the ball to him. Everyone's they just take the ball, just throw it.
Curry is, of course, an all-time great. He's undebatably one of, if not the greatest shooters. And the thing with that, though, now is if we have a team that's so focused on one star player, it doesn't go well. That's the whole reason for the past few years. You have, a whole team out on the court, and now we always got 3 people on Curry no matter what. We have a dynamic where your goal is to always shoot towards Curry for him to shoot, but we always got 3 guys on him, and we have 2, other open guys ready to go down the court. We're not making any plays for that.
Yeah, I think what Arjibin was saying about the culture. Yeah, you look back at like 2007 era with the We Believe Warriors when they took down the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs, one of the biggest upsets for like their franchise overall. There was a culture in Oakland. That's why they called it Oracle Arena. That's why they built off the strength in numbers. Like before the Curry era, they were just a culture that believed and that fought hard, and that's what invited a lot of people there. And I think another big piece that they really changed, while Kerr was a good, move for the time, the big change was when Bob Myers took over. He made the right changes for a lot of things. He made that tough decision to trade Monte Ellis. Like at the time, I doubt a lot of teams would try to go for that. A lot of teams would want to, keep Monte Ellis and then get rid of the, the injury-prone a little like 6'3" guard. They want to get rid of that, but he saw that there was potential in that. He developed it correctly. And not only did he develop Curry, he developed Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. He helped develop Jordan Poole. I think the only time he really started to see failure was when he got James Wiseman, and they just didn't like make enough out of it. I think Bob Myers was just a key part of it. He was able to build up that culture, build up that like team. He built all the players from the ground. He made the right trades to get Andrew Bogut and Andre Iguodala to like play key parts of it, and he's just a core piece of what made it. And I mean, you know, I like to give my flowers to Kerr during that era, but in reality, a lot of it is they had so much firepower, it didn't matter what play they wrote up. You think back to like 2017 or 2018 when the Warriors were playing the Suns, Andre Iguodala was writing the plays. He was doing the play calling. You have a player doing the play calling, and the coach is nowhere in sight. He's off on the bench doing nothing because you don't need to do anything. You have the best team of all time in your hands, and you're able to just create anything out of that. And I think that's the problem, is Kerr is stuck in that mindset that, you know, I have all the firepower. I can just do whatever I want with it. I can make it like this. I can just focus on, oh, give the ball to Curry. And that doesn't work anymore because they don't have the pieces around like KD and like prime Klay and prime Draymond who are able to actually shoot from everywhere. They all just focus on Curry. You look at the gravity. Once he passes half court, they're on him. At least one person is on him from half court and beyond, and nothing can be done about it besides like a Draymond screen. You know, it's like they had that firepower and they don't have it anymore, and Curry's just trying to keep those pieces, but he's picking up pieces that are 2 years too late.
Yeah. And that's just costing him like crazy. Like just having everyone basically dogpile on the Kerr. It creates a situation where they're getting the ball stolen from him constantly because they're just throw it to Curry. Like they're just getting that ball out of as soon as they cross half court. They're just getting that ball out of their hands, and it's just going straight into either the opponent or Curry could barely. He's got 4 guys on him. He can't do anything with it. So
yeah. So I think like when you talk about like Klay, Draymond, and Steph, I think that like the trio, you need a secondary guy and you maybe the third guy like Draymond. Like just having other people on your team that you can pass to. That's what the Warriors just don't have right now. It's just Curry. There's Pajemski. Everyone makes fun of him. I'm a Lakers fan. I can look at him and laugh. But Warriors fans are really like they're frustrated with him. He's too inconsistent. You need that second guy. Curry doesn't have it. Even with KD when he came in, that's a fourth option, and you got a deep bench. They were monsters. Like the teams were scared to play them. The Warriors need that, and I think that's why I look at the Lakers. Like we have Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James. Like you have 3 players that are just dominant. Just having that effect. Like all you have is Curry, and he's still good. It's not like he's bad yet.
Oh.
He's aging, but he's still there. You put another piece with him. They got Porzingis. I didn't really believe in that trade all that great, just because you need someone that can stay on the floor. Yeah.
And then with the Warriors and stuff, the Lakers have their big 3, and Warriors they lost their big 3 when they traded out, and I think that's what they need. They need that power. They need that intimidation again.
We're too focused on keeping up like an old dynasty that isn't as much there anymore. We don't have that super team anymore. It's been spread out to other teams. What we need to focus on now is, I believe what you were saying earlier, is picking up new players that have that potential. Having Curry there as of course, the strong player, but not as much always throwing the ball to him. Have him as a mentor. Have him as someone to show this is how we're supposed to play. This is how we're supposed to have this dynamic. And as we build up these new players over the next couple seasons, they can start showing the potential like Curry did.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think once the dynasty ended, there was 1 year that they just, they won in 2021, 2022. And the big part of that is what everyone was saying here. They had pieces. Andrew Wiggins popped off. He showed up when it mattered. Klay Thompson came back, wasn't as good, but he still showed up when it mattered. Jordan Poole, great player, but he just had an ego at the end of it. Like, there were key players that they built up. I think a YouTuber, Jamie Harrell, broke it down. He was talking about picking up Gary Payne and Otto Porter Jr. as well. They were key pieces that helped develop a dynamic for it, instead of just having it be focused on like the main 3 of Klay, Curry, and Draymond. They made it so that there was other pieces to build other offenses, rather than just having those 3 control the offense and just having backup for defenders. They built a team off of that, and I think the problem with it now is that the best example I could say is they should have done with Curry what they do with LeBron now with the Lakers.
Yeah.
You know, they need that Luka. I think with Luka on the Lakers, it's a great thing for LeBron. It takes a lot of the weight off his shoulders while he can still, show out when it matters.
Yeah.
He can have those like 12-point games and he can go and get dropped 34 the next night because he had that chance to. Because what are you gonna do? You're just gonna fully guard him and leave Luka open? You're not gonna do that. Curry needs a star player to be successful. I'm not saying he needs it to be good. I'm saying he needs it to be successful. He could go and drop 40 a night. The team's going to lose. But if you have that star player with him, that's when you can start winning games.
Yeah.
In 2023, the Ringer actually reported Steve Kerr is basically talking about, like Blake said, the two timelines. Like they're trying to keep the older Warriors to keep ring chasing, but trying to get younger at the same time. It just doesn't work in the NBA like that. You have to focus on one thing. You got to either rebuild or chase that ring, and the Warriors just can't chase that ring.
And that's the exact point. Instead of trying to keep up an old dynasty that isn't there anymore, use the foundation of that old dynasty to build up something greater, build up something better.
I think the one thing that they really could go off of, but it's going to be hard because no team really wants to work with them at the end of the day. Because of their dynasty, no one wants to work with them. Is do what the Thunder did. Like, the Thunder throughout the 2019 to 2021 era, they were a terrible team. They tanked pretty much every year. But they sold off their key pieces. They sold off Paul George to get Shea. They sold off Westbrook to get a bunch of picks. They built a team around that. They are a star team with one of the first overall picks going into next season as well. Like, that's unheard of. Like, they just have the assets that they sold off perfectly and continue to play low in order to get those good picks. And I think the Warriors need to go through that. Now, I don't want to see that because I don't want to see Curry go to another team. I think Curry should be done as a Warrior. But if they really do want to build a better team and build another franchise like a dynasty, they need to sell while they can. Because in the next 2 years, Curry's not going to be worth anything. Whether or not he's good or not, I think he'll still be good. But he's not going to be worth anything because no one's investing in a 39-year-old Curry.
Yeah.
That's just the truth.
And with that, we're going to transition on over to the Oakland Bay Area with all that. So with that, let's start thoughts. Let's start with something new, something a little refreshing. Let's start with the Oakland A's. We'll get into that.
So the A's are something to talk about. Oakland in general has been a struggle. Oakland, the fans are already, distraught at the fact that we're losing all of our teams. We're losing everything that's important. We have the Oakland A's in Sacramento.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? With this, I think a big thing, not even talking about the money factors of why we're transferring, is the players. I mean, we saw the A's start to become something again in the 2010s once we started doing the Moneyball moves. Once we started, trying to get these really intricate trades that were cheap and building them up, hoping that we saw something from the stats. But something that's happened up until now, which is why they've gone down again, is we got way too focused on that tactic, way too extreme, that when we pulled in great players for the A's, they're out by the next season. They're out after 2 seasons going to other teams because, up in the office, we're already focused on what's going to be next for the big trades, what's going to be next that the stats other teams aren't looking at for a trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're definitely looking for those all-star players. They're looking for those. They want those. They just want those big, crazy players. And I noticed that. I went to one of their games, and I noticed that like right off the bat, they have all these big names. Everyone is chanting out for these big names, and it just was crazy to me to watch how when the ball gets like past that, when the ball gets in the outfield, they just freeze. They don't know what to do, and they can't get that ball down to any of the bases. It's just a struggle for them.
Yeah, I think the thing with Oakland in general is that it's a pride. There's a pride in Oakland. Like you saw with Rourke Overton, and like we were talking about with the Warriors, when they were in Oakland, like even when they were bad in the 2007 era, they still had packed stadiums. Like there's love for Oakland. There's love for the A's. There's love for the Raiders. Like they have that. But the A's and like overall just did not want to spend. They did not want to commit to that. They had love that was being supported by the community. They had a great culture from that, but they just didn't want to spend. And I think that's a big problem was the owners. They just wouldn't spend, and now they sold the team to Sacramento or wherever they're going to go because they still don't have a future with that.
It's the biggest fault of Oakland when it comes to the A's and the Raiders is the owners. We had so much focus on money and the finance of it. Now, when we come to the owners for the A's, they were so focused on going where the money's at, not making good, contracts for players, not focused on keeping good players, that it just all fell out. And now we don't even have a stadium for them to be at. They're temporarily at Sacramento for another 2 years.
Yeah.
So even for one of our main teams, if we don't have a home and we have a community that's not even where the home is, how are we going to build something yet? How is something going to be built on this team?
Yeah. The ownership, I mean, you guys talked about it the most. Like, the ownership is very bad. You have Oakland is, like, they loved their baseball team at the time, the early 2010s, They didn't upkeep the stadium whatsoever. Like, Ricky Henderson was just, that stadium, it deteriorated, like, in front of everyone. And then when it time to get in, like, they wanted to make a new one, go to Vegas, but they didn't do it right. They went to Sacramento. Now you ruffle the feathers with your own fans, and then now you're going to move across, like, to another state. It's just, the ownership is really, really bad, to the point where even the players, like Matt Chapman, I'm happy that the Giants got him, but the only reason we got him is because the A's, like, the organization is just that bad.
Yeah.
He loved the Bay Area. He was in Oakland. He wanted to be an A at heart. He went to I think Blue Jays for a little bit.
Blue Jays,
Yeah.
And then he went back to
And
the Giants.
yeah, so he came back to the Bay Area, but just the wrong team, just because the A's organization is just that bad. The ownership just isn't taking good care of it.
Yeah, and it's the Rivercats Stadium is where they're at right now, and it's a mess. It's a nice stadium. It's just way too small.
Yeah, it's a AAA team stadium. It's meant for just like more casual like viewership, not for an entire sports team.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they're still not getting that viewership because now they're not even an Oakland team anymore. They just kind of lost their entire like identity.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it's kind of sad, but it's just what happens, because especially at that stadium is not modern. Like, compared to everybody else's, the Yankees, the Giants, even, just literally a few minute drive. It's just their stadiums just look so much better compared to the Rivercat Stadium.
We don't have the same love from the actual organization that other teams have. I mean, if you look at any other team, the organization is putting in the love to the players just as much as the community is putting the love into the players and the team. With the A's, that is not there. As I was saying before, all of the organization is focused about the money. It's not focused about, keeping up the players, making the dynamic great, and not even, focus on keeping up for powerful coaches to start building a team dynamic closer in. We're not having any of that. We're just focused solely on where the money is going, taking that route, instead of building up a community where the money can be found where the team is.
Yeah, and that's why I'm worried with like the A's have started to build a good team. Like they got good draft picks and they got good players from it. But I just don't know how it's going to develop with how the A's owners are. I think they really could do something with that. They have star players on their hands that have the potential to become all-stars and put them on the right teams to get a lot of value out of it if that's the case. But if they make that move, it's really the big question, because we just don't know if they're going to do that or not.
Yeah, and that big move as well. It's just like it kills a team, especially when you don't have the fans and the support. It just kills the team. They're chasing like short-term big money hits instead of just going for just sit in one place and just generate that money just off the rip. It's kind of crazy.
Like you said with the ownership love, like, look at the Dodgers, like how much money they're just putting in, like Ohtani alone, like almost, what is that, 700 million?
It's 800 million, and they've made it back with how big of
exactly.
sponsorship is.
So there's two sides. You can invest an insane amount, make a monstrous team like the Dodgers, or you just put the bare minimum and just sell tickets every once in a while like the A's are doing. I think that's where they go wrong. And then the owner just does not care enough. I think he should sell the team, but like the Giants right now, they didn't know what to do with their coaching, Bob Melvin leaving. They just got a college coach. They shook it up. They changed it up. A's, I can't really tell the last time they changed anything up other than just getting lucky with rookie prospects. Yeah.
So, and with that, I'd like to thank everybody, and thank you all for watching. Once again, I am your host, or your moderator, my bad. Moderator, Gavin Halverson. This is Blake White, Emerson Gregorio, and Arjivan Sanra, and I'll leave you with this. We are the gold that makes this steak golden, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.